Okay, so the first thing on my Divi wish list is more modules. At the moment, yes, they are functional, but they're pretty much dated. If we take a look at other page builders out there, they have even more exciting modules. So ideally, that's what I really want to see in the next updates of Divi. All right, so let's move on to the next thing, and this is our front-end editing experience. So at the moment, we have two views or two editing experiences. So we have the wireframe view, which is pretty much, those blocks that we used to get in the initial introduction of Divi. And we also have the visual builder. So I'm not sure how many people use the visual builder. In fact, please let me know in the comments box below, which one do you prefer using? Do you use the wireframe view or the visual builder? But anyway, in my case, I prefer the visual builder because that's where I see all the action happening. So I can literally go in there, make some changes, and I can see them happening in real time. Whereas with the wireframe view, you're just pretty much designing and then you need to switch back to see what your design looks like. So I think this takes double the time. I would rather have the visual editor, and that pretty much for me will do the job. So if they can enhance that and make it user-friendly and make it easy to use, that'll be awesome and can get rid of the wireframe view. All right, so let's move on to item number 3, and these are the global styles. At the moment, to be honest with you, this really gives me a headache because there's different places where you can go in and customize your global settings. So the first one being the presets, right? So the presets, they're done in one place and there's no central place to see all your presets. That to me is a problem. And also, when you set your presets, there's no way to reset them. Right? So you could have so many presets, but you don't even know where they are. So you have to literally go into each and one of them and try and reset or make adjustments. To me, that needs to be improved. We need one central place where we can go in and adjust all our presets, kind of like a style guide. And also, if you take a look at the way color works in Divi, it's a bit confusing, and I'll tell you why. So first of all, we can set our colors in the theme builder. Secondly, we can also set our colors in the theme options. And then finally, we can also set colors in the global view. So 3 different places to set up all your colors. This is a bit too much. For a beginner, it can be very, very confusing. Okay, so the next thing is global styles. So when it comes to these styles, I'd rather see them on one central place. If we're going to have them on the theme builder, then it's fine. We can have them on the theme builder. We can adjust all our general settings, header navigation, buttons, and so on. And ideally, this is where the style guide needs to be, because once you go into the theme builder, you make all your adjustments, and these will just take over the website and adjust everything on the click. So I think this would really work. But at the moment, we have the theme builder and we also have the Divi theme options. So 2 places. So you know what? Even the CSS, you can either put it in the theme builder or the theme options. So I see that we are duplicating where content can go. So ideally, again, it needs to be in one central place. And this is going to make it easy for us or for newcomers or new people to Divi find their way around easily. Okay, so let's move on to the theme settings themselves. So in the theme settings at the moment, again, I think this is dated. Ideally, we should be able to set everything in the theme builder. So general settings, header navigations, buttons, blogs, everything, all in one place. This is going to make the design process, as I mentioned before, much, much, much easier. Now, the next item I want to talk about, this is huge. And this, to me, is one of the most important areas that Divi needs to really address when they release the new versions of Divi. So this is Flexbox and Grid. These layouts enable us to design more complex websites. And at the moment, we are using columns and grids. You know, it's really, really difficult to replicate websites or even design more complex websites. We are stuck with these rows and columns, and that doesn't really work anymore. If you look at the page builders out there, Bricks or even Elementor and all these, even Gutenberg, right? They have now Flexbox integrated. So Divi really needs to work on a Flexbox or the grid system for us to be able to design awesome looking websites, because overall the page builder is awesome, but this is an area where they are really, really behind compared to the other page builders. So you may be asking, why do we need Flexbox? Is it that important? Well, yes, it is, because we can build complex layouts The websites that we're going to be building are going to be way faster because we're doing away with the code that is needed to create all these rows and columns. Finally, this is the future of web design. So if you take a look at the rows here, this is all we have in order for us to structure our website. Another thing I want to talk about is the text sizes. So for someone who's new, they are only seeing pixels here, but ideally we want to be adding EMs. I know the EMs work because if I add one EM like that, we notice that this actually works. But for someone who's new, they need to be able to click here, maybe get a drop down and then choose REM, EM, and so on. And also clamp, I can see this really working great. I've tried it a few times and it's really, really awesome. So that would be really nice if this could be added to the future Divi versions. Okay, so let's start off with the theme builder. So when you take a look at the theme builder here, the very first thing that most designers want to work on is their header. But the problem is this header is very, very limited. I mean, to try and add transparency to your header, I mean, this is a long process, okay? And also, it is very difficult to go in and design really custom headers. And because this is using columns and rows, it's very hard to design really complex headers. And also the mega menu is missing. So for this to work, now we have to buy third-party plugins to really have a mega menu. I think this is also an area that needs to be really, really, really worked on. We want to be able to do transparency headers. We want to be able to add all our elements easier in the top there. It also needs to be in Flexbox, which again, I am going to be talking about in a moment. So the header really needs an upgrade.